们去。
Hello, everyone. This is Kyle Galaz with Poor2Pro Car Sales Training Podcast. Become a sales titan. And I have a titan in front of me right now that he's a titan in the fitness industry. Mr. Vincent, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe kind of your progress from fitness to car sales. Like what made you consider car sales?
Hi, Cal. First and foremost, yes, I was working in fitness for years. So obviously, like I'm a people's person, so working with people, helping them out, making them get in shape. And so the transition was really, I wanted something new in my life. I wanted to diversify my income revenue. So trying something else was the goal, really. But why the car industry is just I'm a car guy. Like a lot of guys that get into car sales, I guess, is just car people. So that's what really intrigued me about the business. And yeah, I just decided to move on forward and apply to dealerships. Got a job, and so here I am. I've been working for dealers, two dealers actually, in 2 months. So now my second dealer. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it and learning from you.
And you, what brand are you selling right now?
I'm at Mazda right now.
Mazda. And you're in what city?
I'm in Montreal. Well, I'm right next to Montreal and on the South Shore, so like in the big cities over there in Boucherville. So
Very cool. So
it's
two
it's a
months in,
nice city. It's a nice city. People got money here, so it's not it's a good market.
and Mazda's a great brand. They have great cars, great
I
SUVs.
agree.
Yeah, you're in a good brand. It's just a matter of getting familiar with it. Well, I appreciate you hiring me for the one-on-one session. You
Sure.
have a very cool Instagram page at the gym. And what's neat about you, Vincent, is you've been in sales before. We were just talking before we actually started the podcast that you've done coaching, you've done training, you've sold before, you've sold courses and all that, but you're still selling even when you do your fitness stuff, you know.
Totally. Every
But
training is a sell.
yeah, and what's cool about selling is it doesn't matter what you're selling. If you're successful at one type of selling, you'll probably be successful at all types of selling. And what we need to focus is on the car part of it. And you kind of mentioned
Right.
that you get in the car part of it, and it's like, oh my gosh, deer in headlights look. But you got to give yourself a little break too. You've only been in the car business 2 months, so I always tell salespeople, give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing training. You're trying to get to that next level, and I promise you, the more you listen to the podcast, and whether you get it from me or somewhere else, the more you train, you know, in the fitness world, the better you look, the better you feel, the better you sound, and the more convincing you'll be for your customer. So, congrats. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. Now, you have some
Let's
good
get out.
topics. The first one we'll get right into is exploring the vehicle with the customer and demo drive. So, if you want to truly be a professional car salesperson, you have to know the ins and out of each product you're selling. Because
Mhm.
what is the worst thing for a customer when they come into a car lot and they meet a salesperson that doesn't know anything about the product? Or
Right.
or they know a little bit about the product, but the customer ends up knowing more about the product. Remember, we are the people that want to get paid like a professional. We want to get the high dollar, but if you want to get paid like a professional, you have to act like a professional. You have to sound like a professional. You have to even smell like a professional because the higher level you can elevate yourself, then your customer is beneath you in a sense. Not beneath you, human wise, just beneath you in like
Yeah.
they
You have authority. You have authority.
yes, and they relinquish their brains and their smart
Yes.
and their nervousness to the professional. Just like when you go to the
Right.
doctor and the doctor knows exactly what's on the chart. Okay, I see what's going on. We're gonna check this out. We're gonna make sure you're healthy again. We're gonna fix a few things in your body. And when the doctor knows what they're talking about, it's like, okay, open my chest up. You're okay with another human being literally opening your body up. And if we're able to give that kind of power to this guy, why wouldn't they give us at least some influence on what they're buying over here? but you have to be the professional, and it starts with your product knowledge. So exploring the vehicle with the customer actually needs to start before the customer gets there. So
Mm-hmm.
where I see a lot of salespeople fail is they get to the car lot, they do their tasks, they make their calls, and then they just hit the lot looking for a customer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why they fail is because while they're looking for the customer or waiting for the customer, what could they be doing, Vincent?
Be studying the cars and the product.
Yes, absolutely. So when they finally get that customer and the customer asks, "Hey, what's that button do on the dash?" Instead of you saying, "Oh, I have no idea, let's figure out, let's push it," and it still doesn't do anything because you have to be driving for it to work, you can say, "Oh, that's the adaptive cruise control. That actually sets the gap between you and the person in front of you on the freeway." Oh, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. And if you can build credibility, even just in a few buttons, then the customer is going to follow the leader, right? That's why they call that game Follow the Leader. It's because people want leaders in their life. A wife wants a leader as a husband. Salespeople
100%.
want leaders as their managers. A guy like me who's skinny and needs muscle wants a
A
leader
coach,
like you to that like, okay, this guy obviously has muscle. I want to be like Vincent. I want to hire this guy. So if you can have that persona for your customer, then they're going to follow the leader. So just remember that, follow the leader, and you have to know the product. So this is some things I've said in my episodes, and you may stumble across this at some point. Product knowledge gives you confidence, right?
yeah, yeah.
Confidence allows you to be convincing,
Mm-hmm.
and convincing is what makes the sale. If you're not
Yeah.
convincing, you can't sell food to a starving guy because you
Mm-hmm.
can't convince him that your product is good, even though he needs to eat.
Yeah.
So it all starts with your product knowledge. It's the base of the body, right? The legs. If you got powerful legs, then you can do more things with your upper body. But the legs, allow you to throw the harder punch.
Foundation. It's the
The
foundation.
foundation.
Yeah.
Good terminology right there. The foundation. So product knowledge really for a new guy is the only thing you should be focusing on right
And
now.
that also applies to the used cars that you have on your lot, right? You have to know what you have on your lot. And I've watched content also, and I've picked up on some good habits from other guys on YouTube. Like once you get to the job, you take like 10 minutes. You just walk the lot as you get there, so you know exactly what's on the in the parking lot basically, and you know your products, you know your cars, new arrivals. You can look them up. You can actually you can actually study them, and so if someone comes in, oh, what's that car, you can exactly know like what it is and what it comes with, if it comes with tires, if it has a tag, if yeah. So yeah, I've picked
Exactly.
up on that. so
I
so
mean,
um
think about this. You're 2 months into the car business and you already know that, which means you've been listening and training and studying. When I was new in the car business, I had no trainer. It was just like, hey, this is the how you log a customer in, go sell a car. No one told
right.
me, hey, walk the lot every day. No one told me check your inventory. No one told me that product knowledge is your foundation. All these
Hmm.
things. So the fact that you know that after 2 months tells me you're training, which means you're already advanced past the other new guys.
Right.
So, what sets yourself apart from other new salespeople in your manager's eyes, your GM's eyes, and your owner's eyes is, holy moly, this guy knows his stuff. He's only been here 2 months, which you're already doing and you're already training. A lot of
Hmm.
people train after, 6 months or a year. You're doing it after literally 8 weeks of being in the car business. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So,
Quickly, so basically from that, what my not my struggle at Chrysler, because I've only been at Mazda for 2 days, right? So I'm currently like
yeah.
really new to Mazda. But really moving forward at my new dealership, what I want to be good at is creating emotion by exploring the car. So you might know exactly like all the buttons, but I saw one of your podcasts, and it was really how could I say, it was really uh, 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 it was telling something important, that you should be able to point out the things that are not on Google. You've
Mm,
said that to a
yeah.
guy, and that really resonated with me. It's like that's how you can really. I think it was a guy working at BMW over there, and yeah. So with Mazda and SUVs, SUVs, I used to see them more as like soulless cars, right? how can you really build emotion with these cars, and how can you build excitement with like, it's not like BMW or Audi, it's not like you're selling a performance really. But I know Mazda has like really good handling and stuff like that. So yeah,
Right.
basically like maybe like on like really Mazda branding, like how could I how can I make it more interesting to the customer, like really sell emotion by not just telling them, oh, here's that button,
Right.
here's how to back up your seat, because they can all find that on Google, really.
Yeah, so what the foundation does is first you get all that information, you do your certifications, you get all the information, right? But
Yeah,
you're not an encyclopedia, so you don't want to just spew it all out because you're going to
right.
bore your customer. You still have to tailor make your walk around and your presentation based on the information you've gathered from your customer. Okay?
Mhm.
So the way you can make even a boring car exciting is to find out what is this customer using the car for, the SUV for. Because
Mm,
if you talk about adaptive cruise, right? It does this, it sets the gap on the freeway, da 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 da, and your customer never goes on the freeway, then you're pointing out something that doesn't pertain to them,
I,
right?
I agree. Yeah.
So you're talking about payload capacities and towing on a SUV when the customer doesn't have a trailer. You're talking about 3 rows of seats when the customer only has a dog, right?
Right.
So you still have to customize the experience just like you would customize a haircut. So or a menu order for someone that's ordering that's gluten free and dairy free and all that. You have to still customize the hamburger for that customer. And so the way you make it exciting is by asking questions. Hey, Vincent, do you have any pets?
I don't have a pet, no.
Okay, so we don't need to talk about pets now on the test drive and the thing. Vincent, do you have any kids?
I don't know.
Okay. Vincent, do you have a wife?
No, neither.
Okay, so now I'm just asking direct questions. You don't have to ask them
Yeah,
direct.
let's say I do. Let's say I do, yeah.
But let's say you don't. Let's just say you're Vincent right now.
Okay.
Okay, so
Right.
I really don't need to talk about, like rear seat occupants and the passenger seat, experience. Really, it's this man is a workout dude. Obviously, you can tell because his muscles. So how do I customize my walk around on the Mazda, CX-5 to meet this guy? Hey,
Right.
when you go to the gym, are you bringing just the bag? Do you have equipment do you bring when you're doing your training? Do you need to fold the seats down so you have, these machines and other things? Like, what are you carrying, Mr. Vincent, when you do the training? Oh, I just carry this, this, and this. Or, no, I'm just really looking for something that's good looking, that gets good fuel economy, So you still have to find out through a customer needs analysis or whatever you want to call it, what they're using the vehicle for. And then you can access in your brain that encyclopedia of knowledge and only bring out the tools that you need to fix that issue or the things that will be exciting for Vincent. So Vincent, do you have an iPhone or Android?
But iPhone, yeah.
Okay, are you familiar with Apple CarPlay?
Yeah,
Okay, so this Mazda has Apple CarPlay. Do you like listening to music?
100%.
All right. What's one of your favorite bands or favorite types of genre?
Like that metal.
Okay. Right. Okay. So death
Yeah, yeah,
metal, fast guitars, heavy bass, insane drums, double bass, brrrr, right?
yeah,
All
yeah,
that
yeah.
awesome screamo stuff. How about we do this, Vincent? Because I know music's important to you. Let's pair up your phone. The cool thing about Apple CarPlay is all you got to use is this wire, and some of our cars are actually wireless Apple CarPlay. Let's check it out. And then now, since we know Vincent loves music, I'm going to talk about the stereo because the stereo system has a subwoofer, it has 14 speakers, it has 900 watts. It does this, it does Dolby Atmos, it does surround sound, it does all these cool things. Let's pair up your phone and let's listen to one of your favorite songs. I don't mind some death metal. Let's do it, right? Now, it could be, a different genre with your different customers, but if we really want to build excitement, you have to find out what excites the customer. You
So,
can't,
so we'd say like when you're actually exploring the car, all in the meanwhile, you ask like, you have kids, you have a dog, blah blah blah. There's a lining of questions. So if I'm
yeah.
asking you like, what's your like, what's not your script, because obviously you switch it from people to people,
Mhm.
but you still, I believe that you have a question lining of like, okay, let's let's see what he's got. Like he's got a kid, a family. Like what would be your order, or what
So
would be your?
yeah, so things that I asked like when I was on the sales floor is, are you using this for business or is it personal? Or a little bit of both. And most of it's like, well, a little bit of both. Okay, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm in construction. Oh, excellent. Now I know he's in construction. Now, things I can ask, because if you just ask, do you have kids? That could actually be a trigger, because what if they can't make kids,
I agree. Yeah.
right? Are you married? Well, no. What if they just got divorced and there's so you still don't want to ask the direct questions. You want to ask, hey, who will be driving with you in this car? Right? That then you
Yeah.
avoid, do you have kids? Do you have a wife? Do you have a girlfriend? Right? So business or personal or a little of both. Do you go off road a lot? Are you going to be, or is it a kind of a pavement princess? Do you commute? Those things that you can start asking. And when you ask those questions, you actually listen. Yeah, I do commute. Oh, where do you commute to? Oh, I work for this company. Oh my gosh, how long have you been there? And then you can start building rapport while you're doing a needs assessment, because what's more important than the product itself is your relationship with the customer.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
I know salespeople that are so good with product, but they're terrible with building relationships. They can't sell cars. And then I know people that are great with relationship building, but have no idea how the car, what the car has, can't sell cars.
I think that was my issue, really. If I'm honest, Cal, I think that was my issue with Chrysler. I didn't really take the time to really study like the Wranglers and what they do and really build emotion with Wranglers. And let's say a Wrangler is a really it's a really niche car. So people
Mhm.
with niche expectations really come in the dealer. So you can't afford to not know your product and not build emotion. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that.
So
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 so you would say like, okay, so basically asking like at first, like, yeah, what would be the purpose for the car? Do you commute with the car? Do you do off road and blah blah? And then as that comes and these answers come, then you can go to more personal stuff later. And really, when you get into the car, you can use that to really that you can use that information that you know about that person to customize like what to talk about on the car and not
yes.
waste your time. Okay.
Yeah, because it's all about the customer experience with them, their experience with Vincent. And if you can make that experience customized to them and not cookie cutter, that's why I don't use the same questions every time. If I say business or personal, I'm not going to ask that to the young guy that's asking for a Mustang, right? Is this business or personal? And I'm like, oh, he's into Mustangs. Have you had a sports car before? Oh yeah, my
Mm,
dad gave me a 1985, Mustang. Oh man, did that have the 5.0 in it? Yeah, it had the 5.0. Like, and so now you're asking questions in a genuine way, really learning about your customer, and then you can tailor make the product presentation around them with the product information you have, without just spewing out a bunch of features and options and things that may hit
you
or
can
miss.
line, yeah, you can line your questioning towards towards what the person is really looking for, and
Yes.
not waste your time on like not useless, but stuff that doesn't need to be really talked about to really
Yes.
build emotion. Okay. Okay,
Now,
so that makes sense for that.
yeah. So now remember we talked about the button that the customer asked the button in its adaptive cruise.
Yeah.
The customer may never use that feature, and that feature may not even matter to them. But the fact that you have the answer is the important part to their psyche, that they're with the right person. So
Hmm.
when you sit in these cars and you think, okay, no one's going to use the whatever button, but just the fact that you know it gives you credibility when the customer does ask. Oh,
Yeah.
that's the tow haul mode if you have a trailer hooked up. Oh, we don't have a trailer. But the fact that you knew it at least lets them know you know what you're talking about. So that's why knowing your product gives you the confidence, because now it's like, this is what I would tell my Alfa Romeo customers when we had Alfa Romeo. I'd say, if you have any questions, let me know. I've yet to be stumped. And they would laugh and I would laugh. And then they would start asking me questions like, well, what's that? And I'd be like, oh, that's this and this and this. Oh, what's this? Because now it's a game. And guess what? All of a sudden, the customer's having fun without them even knowing that they're having fun. And they're smiling, trying to
Right.
stump Kyle. And I had a guy finally stump me. He goes, does this car have the folding second row seat, and it was a special edition Alpha, and it
Mm,
didn't have the second row fold. And I thought it did because all the Julias had second row fold, but this particular one didn't. And he
mm.
goes, "No, it doesn't. There's no handle." I'm like, "Oh, you got me." And
Yeah,
he bought the car. He bought the
yeah,
car
yeah.
because he knew he was with the right guy. So just because you know all the information doesn't mean you're a good salesman. It just means you can build credibility, but you still have to customize the experience to that customer. And remember this and write this down. Questions are the answer. It's kind of a backwards thing, right? You're supposed to answer the questions. But in this case, as a salesperson, questions are the answer. You ask questions to get the answers, and then you use those answers from the customer to sell them.
Right.
So
And okay.
So
And
let's do this real quick,
so
Vincent.
the
Let's do
yeah, yeah, I was trying to get into the demo drive, but yeah,
we'll
I'm
do the
listening.
demo drive in a second. So let me do this. Let's say I walk on your lot. We'll do a small role play. I walk on your lot,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
what is a hot item on your what's a big selling Mazda?
Uh, Obviously, it's the more of the SUVs, but some people will come in and buy a Mazda 3 Sport. But we can go with a CX-5. It's really popular.
Okay, CX-5 SUV, kind of a mid-size, two rows.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I walk in. Hey, my name's Kyle. Oh, nice to meet you, Vincent. I was checking out the CX-5s online, and I want to see one in person. Without having you don't have to go into salesman pitch. Just what questions would you ask a guy like that? Let's say I'm by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to look at the CX-5. I saw him online, but I wanted to see him in person.
Yeah, we'll probably start with like, oh, okay, like how long have you been looking for a car?
Yeah, a couple months.
Awesome. And do you have a car currently that you're riding on?
Oh, say that one more time.
I would probably ask like what the car that they're riding is currently. So to
Oh yeah,
get
like
to
what?
know if perhaps I can go into a trade or
Yeah, yeah,
and get to know if there's like a connection between both cars.
yeah. I have my old little Mazda truck from the '90s. Actually, it's just an old little guy that I've been driving, but I've always liked Mazdas.
Awesome, awesome. So all the vehicles that you've had have been Mazdas, or you've gone off and back.
I've had different brands.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. But what made you really come back today? Like what if you've had other brands since the first Mazda that you have currently? What makes you come back to get a new Mazda?
Uh,
What makes you stick with the brand?
I've always trusted the brand because I've had good experience with them. And then I went online and saw the CX-5. I was like, man, that's a pretty good looking SUV. I want to see it in person and see what it looks like.
Awesome. And so then I would probably sit the guy down, take his information, and I would probably ask like, so what would you use the car for mainly? Because now you have an old Mazda truck, so it's pretty spacious. So I'm just curious, like, what would be the uses for that car?
Yeah, so just kind of normal stuff, driving around, doing my normal, chores around town, things like that.
Okay, so are you dragging your kids as well, or?
I don't have any kids.
Oh, okay, you don't have any kids. Okay, because it takes a lot of room to fit some kids. So usually that's why people get
Exactly,
CX-5s.
exactly. Okay, hold on,
All
pause,
right.
pause, Vincent. So you're doing fine. It's always tough when you get put on the spot, especially when it's not a real customer. But to what we talked about earlier, you could say something like, "What about the Mazda CX-5 caught your eye?"
Yeah.
Like, because remember he said he was looking online and he wanted to see one in person. What about it online caught your eye? And those are kind of the kind of questions that are kind of open-ended for him to spew out his answers. Because if
Then
you're,
you don't have to ask so many questions.
yeah, then it's like, oh, then now he is answering, he's giving you all the ammo you need. Oh man, it looked really sporty. Okay, so remember that keyword sporty. He's into a sporty look, which means he might be into performance. Okay. So it looked really sporty. I like the black rims that showed on it. Okay, so he liked the black rims. That's the carbon package or whatever they call that package, right? So you can
Hmm.
start piecing together before he even knows what's happening, what he's telling you, and you can start piecing together. He liked that it was sporty. He liked the black rims, which is the carbon package. And now he's telling you what he saw about it. And then instead of saying, "Hey, let's go inside and sit down," say, "Shoot, I got one right here. Let's go look at it. My name's Vincent. Your name? Oh, Kyle. What, thanks for coming in. Is your first time here? Yeah, I haven't been to the Mazda store since I bought the 95, Mazda B200 2000, whatever it is." And then you can start asking them questions. What are you going to be using the car for? Is it like your normal daily driver? Is it for business or personal? And then he can start answering those questions that you're investigating a little bit. But you can now tailor make it in saying, instead of saying, "Are you going to be dragging kids around?" You can say, "Will other people be in the car with you?"
Mm,
Right?
yeah.
And you say, "Oh yeah, my kids." Okay, now we know he has kids without asking, does he have kids? Yeah,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
right? So then you don't offend him if he can't make kids. And you can say stuff like that, like, or you don't know, the guy's kid might have died 6 months ago in a car wreck, and we're talking about kids. So you can say stuff like, "Will anybody be driving in the car with you, or is it just going to be you most of the time?" "Oh, well, it's me and my dog." "Oh, what kind of dog do you got?" "Oh, it's a German Shepherd." And then you can talk about the German Shepherd, and you build rapport while you're doing this needs assessment. That's how you become that sniper, bah, because you're gathering the information before you plead your case.
Right.
And then you can
Okay.
say, when he's, "What kind of things did you like about the CX-5 online?" "Well, let me show you some of the stuff that you didn't find out online. And remember the things that you can't Google?
Hmm.
That's when you can talk about that stuff. What do you know about the CX-5, Mr. Customer? What things did you learn online?" "Well, I learned it has the turbo, it has this." "Yep, exactly. Good information. You did do your studying." Now you're complimenting him. You're building up that feeling of like, "Hey, yeah, yeah, Vincent said I did my research." You can compliment the customer. What things online when you're researching caught your attention the most? "Well, I liked that it had the sound system with the subwoofer." "Oh, what kind of music do you listen to?" Do you see the flow?
Yeah. So what have you learned? Like looking at the vehicle online on your own,
Yeah.
and then you can know what they know and what they
Hmm.
don't know. Yeah,
And then you can
that's
ask
a good one.
you can ask questions like, "What excited you the most about the CX-5 online?" Now, some of these questions are very like they're like manufacturer sounding questions. What excited you the most? So you obviously want to word it on how Vincent talks.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah,
Customize it to your voice, because I don't say that. I don't, when I had a customer, I didn't say, "What about it excited you most online?" I didn't use that verbiage, but I use that type, that a
yeah,
formula
yeah.
that flowed out of my mouth. So
That's what I was looking for. These questions. That's what I was looking for to really direct the direction to create the excitement. So that's really good, actually.
yes.
That's
And now
awesome.
those things that you find out about your car that you can't Google are usually things that you find out when you're driving it. How it responds, how it feels. Can it take a 90-degree turn at 30 miles an hour without screeching the tires? When you floor it at a dead stop, does it screech or does it launch? Right? Those are things that
Mhm.
they can't really find out online. Those are the things that you use to set up the demo drive. The non-Googleable things is what I use to set up the demo drive. And I would say things like this. When we're on the test drive, I want you to really accelerate off the line to show you how the vehicle grips instead of spins out. Or when we're on the test drive, there's a specific corner I want you to take at a little bit faster speed. Stay in your comfort zone, but I want you to take this turn a little bit faster than usual because I want you to show how much control this Mazda 3 has. It's amazing, and you'll feel it. You'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it's like this car's on rails." You throw in some theatrics, right? You're having fun. And then
Hmm.
now the
So
customer.
you wouldn't be. I don't know if it was you, but you wouldn't be the type to be like, okay, here's like the demo drive. I let you experience it. I'm gonna keep quiet, and if you have questions, like let me know. You wouldn't be that. You would engage more because I'm
So
the type of guy that I like to engage, but not too much. Like I want the person to really feel the car, but I could direct them on how to feel the car. Is that what you would do?
So a couple things. So if I was with a guy and he was talking about performance and sporty and things like that, I would talk about those things because remember, I'm customizing my experience to him. So if he comes in and says sporty and Mazda 3, I'm going to talk about handling and performance and things like that. But I
Mhm.
am the same guy that says I'm going to sit in the back and stay quiet because when you have a couple, you're going to let them sit up front.
Yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
that's when I would say, "Hey, I want you guys to experience this vehicle like you just bought it." Oh, planting the seed like they just bought it. And I'm going to stay in the back. If you have a question on a button or something that you want to ask, I'll be right here back here. And I would just stay quiet. And guess what would happen after about 3 minutes of them driving? They would either start asking me questions, which is good, there's engagement, or they would start talking to each other like they already own it. Oh, this thing's nice. Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh, it feels so smooth. Especially on new cars, because new cars they don't have problems. They don't have check engine lights popping on and things like that for the most case. But used cars, sometimes you get customers that say, "What's that shutter?" or "Why is it pulling to the left?" So when I had a guy or a person or a couple that was into performance, I would set up the demo drive talking about acceleration and turning and things like that. When I had a
So
couple,
if it's a SUV, yeah. So basically, you would build like emotional bond with the car by talking about how spacious it is and how safe it is, the safety feature, and obviously like stuff like that for a family because it's not so much for performance. But some people would buy a CX-5 because it looks kind of sporty as well. But yeah, so that would be like your direction. So when you're in the car at that moment, you're not going to talk about cornering and obviously like it doesn't
correct.
really matter to them.
Because remember, we're customizing it. Now, for the family with the SUV, who's going to be in the car with you? Oh, my wife and three kids. Oh my gosh, that's awesome, right? Should we go drive it and show them? You can do that kind of stuff later too. But now, when you're talking about that, and now when you want to set up the test drive with those people, you can say, okay, so when we're on the test drive, I'm going to take you down this road, and the road has a lot of bumps in it. And I want you to feel how smooth this vehicle is on these bumps. So, like, let's say you're taking your family on a trip and the kids are finally asleep in the back. You finally have some peace to turn on the radio just a little bit, just to have some dad time. You'll get to feel how smooth it is and how quiet it is with the insulation and the in all the double pane windows, all this stuff it it creates a great experience for you as the driver in a luxurious SUV, and you'll see that when we jump on the freeway. So you can customize any vehicle to set up the demo. When we're driving it, I want you to pay attention to this. When we're driving it, I want you to feel this. When we're driving it, the whole point of the walk around is to what?
Out of the demo drive
And the whole point of a demo drive is to what?
to build an experience
And when they come back from the demo drive, what's the next step?
of the numbers
And then after the numbers, what's the next step?
to close the deal.
Yeah, after you close the deal, what's the next step?
Handshake and make money. Yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah.
so as a new salesperson, you have to remember the only reason why I'm doing a walk around is to get to the demo drive. I need to get this customer from walk around to demo drive. And while I'm in the demo drive, the only thing I need to be doing is building this ether up, whether I'm talking or not, building this up really high so he'll want to work numbers. And the only reason I'm
Mm.
working numbers is to sell the car and close the deal. So
And I saw in one of your podcasts that basically when you do that and you build that emotional bond, you raise the value of the car naturally. So when it's time to talk to numbers, well, the car is already at a certain price. Well, the person is not going to be like, "Oh, it's so expensive. What the hell?" If they really like the car, it's easier. And I think it was I'm not sure if it was you. I actually saw that trick that you would talk the numbers out and you'd be like, okay, so let's say they say, oh, but $600 really expensive for me monthly and whatnot, and you would say, I'm not sure if it was you, but something along the lines will be said as, okay, what if I actually got like higher version of that vehicle? It could be like I don't know a Urus. Like let's say you're talking like a SUV with like sports mode, so like a Urus for $800. Would you actually take it? Oh yeah, of course. But why? Now you just created $200 monthly because you see that value, right? So is that something good to use when you're talking numbers? obviously like not as to pressure them, but to put things into perspective.
I mean, yeah, that's the Lamborghini, kind of the Lamborghini clothes. Like, because anyone would find an extra 200 bucks to buy the Lamborghini. Of
Right.
course. I would find another 400 bucks. I would stop eating food every third day to have a Lamborghini that I could afford, right?
But
So,
then how do you use that after? Like how do you use it?
well, I didn't use that one a ton. What I was planting in the customer's head is they do have the money in the budget. That's the whole point of that analogy and close is they may say 600 bucks is too much or 800 bucks is too much, but when you use that analogy, like if I could get you a Lamborghini that's $300,000 car for 800 bucks a month, would you take it? Well, yeah, obviously, right? So you do have the money. It's not a budgeting issue, it's a value issue. You're not seeing the value in my car.
And then how do you bounce back from that?
You gotta, I mean, you gotta ask questions. Like, uh, some of the things I would do would be break down their budget. Let's find the 200 bucks. You're saying you don't have 200 bucks. Let's find it. The bank.
But before you say that, you would try to build value back on your car. So how so if initially they said, oh, it's too expensive, it's probably because in their head that they don't see that value. So how do you actually raise back that value sitting down at the desk with numbers on?
So I had a customer one time that this exact thing happened. It was a Mustang GT, and we were at my
Mm-hmm.
desk, and the payment was way too high for him. It was probably 200 bucks or 100 bucks too high. And
Okay.
I told him, I said, I'll never forget this deal. I said, the more you look at that payment, the more you're going to talk yourself out of the car. It's just how it works. We know you can afford it. You know you can afford it. What you're doing is psyching yourself out of that $100 bump or whatever it was. I can't remember now because it's been a while. And I said, but I want to do something real quick before you say yes or no to me. He's like, okay, what? I go, I need you to stand up and follow me. And he followed me because I led that whole process. I led the whole process. So him getting up and following me was not a hard thing for him to do. He's like, okay. He's wondering what the heck I'm doing. I walked right out to the car. I said, that is why you should pay the extra 100 bucks a month. That. And we sat there and looked at
Mm,
the car for like 5 minutes. And I stayed quiet. That's why that extra 100 bucks a month is worth it. That right there. And then
that's awesome.
he reminisced on the whole process, the walk around,
Creative.
test drive, everything. And you know what he does? He looks at me because it's a good sales pitch. And he got caught and he goes, all right, I'll take it. And we went right back. But but the thing is you have to think on the fly, Vincent, and that it takes experience and it takes going out and attempting things all the time. You can't ever get stagnant because that close may not work on the next guy.
Hmm. Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah, totally. So you
there's
have to be
no
creative.
you got to be creative. You got to be able to think right on the fly. That just came to me right there because I was out of options. I was out of the monthly budget. Well, it's in the budget. I was out of the competition. I was out of all my tools. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose this guy. And I thought, wait, because I had good rapport with them. He trusted me. I said,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to try, I want to do something. And he followed me out there. We sat there and looked at the car, and he goes, all right, I'll take it. So that's how I rebuilt the value is I took him back out to the car because what he was doing is psyching himself out on the payment. He wanted to be
Mhm.
at 500, it was 650 or whatever it was. But it was way more than he wanted. And if you stare at that long enough, Mr. Customer, you will talk yourself out of the car. I've used that a lot. If you stare at the numbers long enough, you'll always talk yourself out of the car. But remember why you came here in the first place. I want an SUV. I want something with 3 rows. I want something with low miles. I want something that does this, this, and this. That is what they cost. When you see this vehicle on the road, they're making this payment. They didn't magically get half the payment. This is what they
Yeah,
cost. If you see an Expedition X, XL or whatever they call them, EL on the road, that's a King Ranch, they're paying $1,200 a month, just like this payment. So if you want this car, this is what it takes. Or we can, and then you do the pull away technique, Vincent, or we can go look at the lesser car. We can go look at the Mazda 3. Well, I don't want the 3. Well, of course you don't. But that's the one that fits in your budget, right? And if you have the right rapport, that doesn't come off as offensive. That's the one that fits in your budget. But if you just want to stretch a little bit, this is what it takes to buy this car. And I hope I've earned your business. I hope I've done enough to say, you know what, Vincent is a fair guy. They're making me a fair deal. They took care of me on the trade. Let's do it. And a lot of times if you've done everything right, that close works. All right, let's do it. The budget's there. You know you can afford it. The bank knows you can afford it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have approved you, right? All
Mm,
these factors, what you're doing, Mr. Customer, is psyching yourself out over $100. Have you been to McDonald's lately? It's $100 to take a family to McDonald's. So how about you eat out one or two times less per month and you can get the car of your dreams? You're telling me that a Monster Energy drink every couple days, giving up that is worth that car? Yeah, absolutely. Right? Cut these little things, man. We spend so much money on stupid stuff. You could be driving a Ferrari and then you kind of make it like so big and then it brings them back. So what you got to do sometimes when they're stuck on that payment is punch them with reality. It's not that much money. You have it in the budget. You just don't want to cut loose of it or you don't see the value in it. And so you see how I go into this tone and this flow?
yeah, so I guess I've really now I understand more. It's just still like maybe, but I guess like when it's time to really build a value, you really have your shot before the numbers. If you
Yes,
haven't done, yeah, if you haven't done really your job well, and they don't see the value, I don't think there's like a go back really. I mean,
it's
do
hard.
you would it's hard, yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard. You can do it like I did with that one guy, but it's hard. It doesn't work that well. So that's why I tell customer or salespeople
It's before, yeah.
there's a reason why I have 11 steps of the sale. You
Mhm.
don't start with test drive, you start with meet and greet,
Yeah,
right? The second step isn't numbers. The second step is building rapport and doing a needs assessment. There's a reason for these 11 steps of the sale, and you have to do 80% of your work outside and then you do the
mhm,
small 20% inside. Or you do 20% outside and you shortcut a bunch, and now you have an 80% amount of time that you're going to be grinding at your desk. So
right.
in that season two, the greatest close on earth is because you set it up outside. And then when you come inside, they're like, what do I got to do? I want to put 5,000 down. We have great credit. We use this bank. But if you can get me a better rate, if you've heard that in the car business, that means you did a great job outside.
Yeah.
If you get to the desk and you hear what's the best price you can do, I'm going to go look at the competitors. You probably didn't do enough. They controlled the process. You didn't break down
Mhm.
their walls. And so when you get inside the office, it's a grind.
Yeah.
But just a couple things before we go on, because that's a huge one, exploring the walk around, exploring the vehicle and the demo drive.
So
So
important, so crucial. It's so
it's
crucial.
like you said, it's the
It's
foundation,
just
right?
it's just so hard if someone's just looking to just buy a used truck and they have low budget, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's really hard. Like a used car, really build that emotion. But now that you gave me the tools, I guess I'll do a better job than I was doing before, for sure.
Well,
But
just
I just
ask
feel like
questions.
sometimes it's yeah, yeah, just asking questions, yeah.
Ask questions
So
because asking question also makes them feel important that you care enough to ask. Let's say it's a $5,000 used truck. Who cares if it's 5 grand? It's still a car deal. What are you going to be using it for? Do you do business with it? Is it going to be for pleasure? Oh, I like going camping. I'm going to use it for my dirt bike. Oh man, what kind of dirt bike do you have? Boom, building rapport. Remember, we're in the people business. We happen to sell cars, but we're always in the people business. So you got to build rapport while you're
yeah,
finding out what they're using it for. Then you customize that walk around for them. Okay. And then the demo
got
drive,
it. Got it.
you got to set up the demo drive while you're doing the walk around. Things you're going to feel on the freeway, the ungoogleable things. Remember that. And
Okay.
you got to train that before you go on the test drive and before you ever get a customer. You don't want to try to figure these things out when you're with the customer. You have to do it before you
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
customer. Okay?
Yeah, yeah. I'll study that for sure.
Okay, so how to work a deal with negative equity. This is the forever thorn in a car salesman's hip is the negative equity, right? But
Yeah.
whose problem is the negative equity when you're working a car deal? Whose problem is that really?
Well, it's the client's problem to have negative equity.
Okay, so it's the client's problem. Okay, they have the problem. Okay, so you're kind of when it comes to negative equity, the middle guy, because the person that is supposed to solve that problem is who? Your sales
It's you.
managers.
Automatically, yeah.
Yeah, your sales manager or finance guy is the one that has to solve that problem. So when you're working deals and you come back with, $5,000 of negative equity or $10,000, try not to hang yourself up on it mentally too much. And you
You
tell
can
your,
say that to the customer. That's what you say.
no, 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 I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
But for you personally, when you're working a car deal, yes, it sucks to hear that the customer has negative equity because that usually fouls the car deal up. But because it's such a reality in the car business, we have to accept that that's just part of it. And
Yeah.
when you hear about negative equity, try not to crap yourself out. Like, so things I learned later when I was selling cars is whether they had positive equity or negative equity, I'm still going to give them the best service I can.
Yeah.
So
And if you build enough value at the end of the day, it's always going to help you to close the deal. So whatever we've talked about, like the last 20 minutes, is it's still applicable. Where if you really build a value in the car and you give a great experience, and he actually likes you as a salesman and stuff like that, he might just like not let it go like mentally about the negative equity, but be able to bend more,
yeah.
and try to maybe pay more because the experience was so good. He has so much emotional bond with the car that might just be like, you know what, like paying like 200 $300 extra my budget, even though I have negative equity, like it wasn't planned, but it is what it is. This is what I got to do to really have that car that I really want.
Yeah. So what I was saying earlier too, that's a great point you said, but it's the customer's problem because they're the ones with the negative equity. So what you need to be is you don't need to be the bad news breaker and the oh my gosh, what are you going to do about all this negative equity? I need money down. All you want to be is the advocate for the customer. You need to be an advocate for them and try to help them relieve the mental mountain of that negative equity. So if you come back with a pencil and it says 10,000 negative and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's all my trade's worth. I'm 10,000 flipped," right? A lot of salespeople get defensive. Well, that's what the market says your car's worth. And yeah, it's not our problem that you have 10,000 negative. Did you roll over negative? We start getting into this defensive mode. And all we're doing is making the customer feel isolated and dumb. But what
And
I
so
would
what would be your wording? What should be your, like, let's say like the customer at the end of the day, he wants to get more for his trade, he wants to fight back that equity. So how do you rationalize like not getting more?
So here's what I would do. I became a master at just kind of pushing the problem forward. I just kept pushing the problem forward. So I would say stuff like this. I'd say, listen, whether you have positive equity or negative equity or 1,000 in negative or 9,000, it still will come down to what kind of payment I can get you on the next car. And if I can make it affordable, whether you have no negative equity or a lot of negative equity, that's my goal, Mr. Customer, is to find out the lowest payment I can get, even with some of this negative equity. So let me just do a little bit more of my job and figure that out. And all I was doing is kind of just pushing it down the road a little bit. Because what my goal was is to get a credit app and get an approval with all this negative equity because now I'm moving the process forward just a little bit more and finding out, oh my gosh, even with all the negative equity, it's still in his budget. Mr. Customer, you said you wanted to be at 700 or less, but you're really upset about the negative equity. I'm at 699 with it. So technically I've done what you've asked me to do, correct? Well, yeah, but I don't like that you didn't give me enough for my trade. I said nobody likes what we give for the trade. I've never in my 24 years in the car business have given an appraisal to somebody and they say, "Yippity doo, I got exactly what I wanted." It's never
Could you
happened.
also could you also say like, and maybe that makes you more that makes you look more authentic, like, Mr. Customer, at the end of the day, as we all know, like the dealership has to make money, so of course, like any dealership will give a little bit less of the market value. That's the reality. So when they sell back the car, they make a little bit of profit. It's just the way things are. Like, could you also go towards that lining, or it's not good?
I stayed away from it because customers hate that dealerships make money at all. They
I
want us
agree.
to lose. They want us to lose. So I would always stay. Now, when I was new, I would say stuff like that because I just didn't know, but I missed out on deals. So
Mm,
what I started saying is I will do everything I can to make this deal work for you and put it in your budget. I don't care what I have to tell the manager. I'll tell him all kinds of stories. My goal is to get you a car deal and get you to where you want to be on payment. I've said nothing about discounts. I've said nothing about more on the trade. I've said nothing. What I'm being is an advocate for my customer. I'm on their side. Mr. Customer, I'm going to be on your side when it comes to the negotiating part. I will figure out every single thing I can do to make this car affordable on payment, everything. Oh my gosh, okay, this I'm with the right guy. Instead of saying, hey, here's what your trade's worth, da 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 da, we got to make money, things like that. They don't want to hear none of that. What they want to hear is I have a guy working for me that's going to try to get it in my budget. And when you come back with the appraisal and the full pencil and the out the door is 40 and they said they want to be at 35, I said, I understand you want to be at 35 and we're at 40. It's because of the trade values less than you thought. Totally get it. But let me do this. I'm going to take this paper out of your eyes. I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to work the deal as best as I can for you to make it affordable for you because I know at the end of the day, when you get your payment statement in the mail, you have to be able to afford that payment. And I know a lot of people online, they tell you, oh, don't let them go on payment. Don't do this, work the numbers. But in the end, it's still a payment thing. If I work all the numbers and we get to exactly where you want to be, but your payment is $300 too high, you're not buying the car, even if I give you what you want on your trade, right? So if I give you
mm,
exactly what you want on your trade, but it's $1,000 a month, will you buy the car? Well, no, I can't afford it. Exactly. You can't afford it. It's $1,000 in payment. Let me do this. You said you wanted to be at 700 bucks or less. Let me work with that. Because if I tell my manager they're not signing unless it's 700 bucks or less, he's going to have to figure out the numbers. I'm going to put the pressure on him. And your customer's like, finally, I got a salesman that's on my side. And you've said nothing about discounts. You've literally bypassed all of it. And then you tell your manager, hey, this customer wants to be at 699. I think I could close them at 725, 750. All right, here's your pencil at 710. And you go back to your customer. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got great news. The payment was originally 810, but you know how I told you I was going to do all that stuff? It's only 710. Done. Where do I sign? Because you set it up so well that you're on their side that now you have all the credible, you have all their trust. And then you say something like it was 810. I told them everything you told me. It's 710. 10 bucks more. I'll pay your 10 bucks. Like, right? And now you're having fun
right,
again and they're signing. Now,
right.
sometimes the payment's too high, sometimes it's just right. But as those objections come, as a professional, you have to be able to handle them. And you have to be able to handle them to that customer. So if I tell you, let's look at your budget, that may not work on the next guy.
Mhm.
It's all that rapport building that remember, questions are the answer. All those questions you ask will tell you how to close that customer. They will literally tell you, yeah, I do some side work. I mow lawns on the weekend. Okay, so the payment's 60 bucks more than you want to be. How many lawns is that more? It's like, well, that's just one lawnmower. I'm like, so you're telling me you could have that beautiful truck if you just mow one extra lawn a month? Yeah, I'll hire you. Done. Like creative, fast thinking, fast twitch. And you
Mm.
break it down to where it makes sense to them based on what they do, based on what they told you. It's stuff that you can't teach in a course. It's stuff that's like
You need
on
it. You need experience. It's
it's
all
ex-
experience.
it's experience and on the fly and are your cylinders. You know that flow state boxers get in and MMA fighters get in?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
can't be hit. They cannot be hit. Any punch the guy throws, they're just like boom, 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 boom. They're in the flow state. Well, that happens with car salespeople in the flow state. Customer has an
Mhm.
objection, done. Customer has an objection, done. You didn't give me enough for my trade. What if I gave you enough for your trade, but the payment was still too high? Would you buy it? Well, no. I go, so it's not about the trade, it's about the payment, right? Yeah. I know YouTube and AI tells you to work the numbers, work the numbers, work the numbers, and then do the payment. But really, if you just tell me the max payment you want to be at, I'll shortcut everything and say, my guy wants to be at 700 bucks a month. He'll take it right now. Deal? It was 800 bucks. Can you do 800? No. But I told him all the stuff we said. I got it to 710. Done. Oh, and that includes Gap. So really, it's actually under 700. So The flow state happens in the car business when you're prepared and when you've asked the right questions. I mean, I can go on a rant when people give me objections when I'm in that state. Like nothing, you can't say one thing and stop me. The only thing that can stop a guy in a flow state is a customer that's lying.
Yeah,
You can't close deals when the customer hasn't been honest. They said
right.
they can go up to 700, but the wife said 500 or less and you can buy it. But the customer's a little embarrassed because he knows you can't get that car at 500. So he says, I can go probably up to 700, but he knows that if he goes home, he's going to get divorced. So really it's 500. He's telling you 700. He's telling you he has 5,000 down, but that's because he's waiting on tax return money or he's waiting on this money. He's selling a trailer. So he actually doesn't have 5,000 down, but he's not telling you that. So now he wants to go think about it, right?
Yeah.
So lies can stop the best car salesperson.
Mhm.
So that's when you can ask customers, what's really the issue? Because you said you have 5,000 down. Now you want to think about it. You were gung ho about the 700 bucks. Now you want to think about it. What am I missing here? Is it something I did? Is it the down payment? What if I got you the same payment with zero down? Oh, I would buy it today if I did that. Oh, because you don't have the 5,000 now. That question was not a promise. The question was finding out, does he have the 5,000 or not? What if I got you the same payment without 5,000? Oh, I would sign right now. There's the objection. He doesn't have the 5,000.
Mhm.
Mr. Boss, can we go another year or two to get the guy's payment down with zero down? Yeah, no problem. We can put him in a lease and his payment's actually lower with zero down. All right, done, Mr. Customer. You're approved with zero down. All right, I'll take it. But if they're lying to you and you can't find the lie, then you can't close the deal. So those are tough.
Cool. So yeah, I guess it ties back to really the initial objections you'll hear a lot. So you'll hear about, oh, I have to think about it, or the wife and stuff like that. So what I've looked at YouTube, and hopefully you have some time to really address this because it's
Yeah,
really like the biggest part. Uh, but really, you try to isolate the objection on an island and just sweep it away. So basically, like someone says, oh, it looks good. I like the payment. I just gotta go home and think about it, right? So I would say something along those lines. I would say, awesome, man. Of course you gotta think about it. You know, it's 60,000. If you had 60,000 down to put on table, I'll be really impressed. Obviously, it's a big purchase. It's well, I would say something like it's the almost the biggest purchase right after your home. In French, that's how I would approach it.
yeah,
I say, but may I ask just a question? And the customer would say, oh, yes, no problem. And I'd be like, usually when people tell me that they have to think about it, it's either one or two things. It's either the car that doesn't really fit the needs or it's the financing. Which one of these two options would say would be one of your something you got to think about?
yeah. So
And then
that
and then they'll address, but usually it's the money, the financing,
yeah,
and then you
it's always the money in the end. When customers say I need to talk to my wife, it's the money. When customers say I want to think about it, it's the money. When customers say because the way you can find out if it's the money is say, "Hey, if this thing was half off, would you buy it today?" Well, yeah. So it's not the wife. It's not I need to think about it. It's always the money. If this car was free, would you take it? Well, yeah. Well, that means it's the money. So what in the money is the hang up? Is it the down payment you don't have yet? Is it the monthly payment? Are you not liking the interest rate? You tell me what the problem is, and then I can go to work. Because I work for you right now, Mr. Customer, and I want to earn your business today. Because statistically, when a customer leaves to think about it, I never see him again. And I hope I've earned your trust enough to where at least you could tell me this is what it takes for me to buy your car today, Kyle. I hope I've earned that. And then he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I can't do $1,000 a month. When me and my wife talked about it, we were hoping to be around 800. Okay, so what you're telling me is that not that you have to go talk to your wife, it's more if you can get it to 800 or less, you'd buy the truck today. Yeah, that's the real problem. Thank you for being honest with me because now when I go to my boss or if I would have went home today and I thought, man, where did I miss? It eats me up. So I appreciate you being honest. Let me go find out if I can do $800. It sounds like that's the only hang up is if I get to $800 a month with your 5,000 down, you'll take it. All right. Give me a few minutes. You come back with 875. I'm like, Mr. Customer, it starts with an eight at least. And then you guys laugh, and right? And then there's always a little bump. There's always a little bump. Um, but let's say you get
But
to,
if you have if we sorry, if you would have to really line up like each objection, how would you address them? So now we address like a couple ones at the same time. So if you'd be like, okay, someone tells you I have to think about it, like what would you be like your lining of talking?
so I always start when people say they think about it. I say like kind of like you said, totally got it. I totally understand you got to think about it. It is a big purchase. Totally get it. Okay. Now, if you have good rapport with the customer, you can ask, I'm curious of what will you be thinking about when you leave here? Because the reason why I asked that, Mr. Customer, is not to be, prying on you, but you have the most information right now to make an educated decision. You have me, you have the paperwork, you have my manager, we have the banks. You literally have the most information right now to make an educated decision. So when you go home, you're going to lose half of that information. So now you're trying to think about a car deal with half the information. So technically speaking, if you want to think about it, thinking about it at the dealership is actually the smartest decision because you have all of these resources. Okay. Then you
Mhm.
can find out, no, they just want to leave. That's the real thing. They don't want to go home and think about it. No one wants to go home and think about it because when you have a real buyer, they don't leave to think about it. They just buy it. So when I
Mhm.
have customers that say I want to think about it, I said, "Do you like making educated decisions?" Well, yeah. I go, "Okay, so statistically when customers leave, they we see maybe 3% of them back. And the reason why is because they go home and they don't have all the information to actually make an educated decision. So that's kind of my educated decision response when people say I want to go home and think about it. And if I have good rapport, I just flat out ask them, "What do you need to think about?" I feel like we've gotten past car salesman and customer relationship. You can just tell me straight up. I'm not going to tattle on you. What do you need to think about? Well, I kind of wanted the blue one. A lot of the times, they're very basic things that the customer wanted to think about. It's not like they're going home and thinking about advanced science and advanced mathematics. They're-
Sometimes they just say, "Oh, I don't buy on the first day or whatever," and they'll say like, "Oh, I'm not the type to really buy on the spot." And I guess that ties back to like if not enough emotion was built on the vehicle with the. But some people they just don't.
it's
But I
true.
guess some people can be converted. So I guess like if what would be your way to convert someone to be like, I go home think about it all the time. I never buy on the first day, even though you had a great experience, great
Yeah.
demo, great everything. How would you try to lure that customer back in the deal?
So in those scenarios where I feel like a customer was leaving, like truly leaving, like they're going to leave. There's nothing I can do to stop them. And I didn't have the right close. I use my resources at my disposal. So my resources were my sales manager, my GM, my finance manager, and then I don't know if you guys have options to let a customer borrow the car overnight. That some dealerships do. We used to back in the Ford store. If we had a really good customer, they would let them take the car overnight, bring it back tomorrow, and make their decision. That was actually a killer close because their neighbors saw it, people saw it, they showed it off. I mean, it
I don't
was
think we do that, but yeah, that's actually a good idea.
yeah, it was amazing because they would come back and buy it like 99% of the time. But if you truly have a guy that's leaving and you've done all of the things that you can do, you stop and say, "Hey, I have an idea. I'll be right back." And you go get some help because it's not just your dealership, right? You can get some help. Say, "Hey, Mr. Manager, I've done everything I could. I feel like I've exhausted all my avenues. I need help closing this customer. Please come out and talk to them." And if you have a good sales manager, he's going to go be like, "Absolutely." And he might say the exact same thing that you said, but it closes the deal because it's coming from a manager. So it's not that you didn't say the right things, Vincent. It's just that you were the wrong person to say it. And that manager could come out and say the same thing. I have a salesman at my dealership right now. He sells 20 to 30 every month, but he uses everyone at his disposal because he needs help. He's not the greatest closer. What he is the greatest resource user. Kyle, can you come talk to this customer? They don't want to buy today, but they're kind of on the fence. I got them to this car deal that got them to the desk at least. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. How you guys doing? My name's Kyle. Anything we can help you out with? Da 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 da. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna work your deal. We're gonna get you the best deal. It's like I'm sure he already said all that stuff. Next thing you know, they're doing a credit app. Next thing you know, we're getting them approved. So don't forget your resources also. If you have that customer that's gonna leave no matter what, might as well do the Hail Mary and throw everything out there if you've used all of the closes that you know. Because remember, there's not one specific close that works on all.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, I know that.
we can role play the guy that wants to think about it, and I could give you these great options, and none of them work
Mm,
because the
right.
one close that you need for that is the manager to come out and say the same thing you said. The
Yeah.
the key is reading your customer and knowing what it's going to take to close them. Like, hey, there's multiple customers interested in this car, but since you're here, no one can touch it. All those salespeople are waiting for you to leave. That's a close I use so many times. They're hoping you leave. Well, we're not leaving. Like, okay, good, good, good. I'm just setting it up because that's what that customer needed to pull the vehicle away, possibly after we done all this work, right? They don't want to do this again and find another car. We found the perfect car, and now you want to leave. And this salesperson over here has a customer that wants to come in after you to buy it. Don't let that happen. Like you're literally at the right place at the right time. But that doesn't work on everybody. What about ma and pa that want to go home and pray about it?
Mhm. And also there's another one where it's like shopping around. What I've been studying and looking at is if someone wants to shop around, uh, you sort of like, of course you want to shop around, of course you want to look at your option, and that makes you like an educated person. That makes you like something that makes you someone who makes educated decisions, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
then the person will be like, oh yeah, of course. And you'd be like, but may I just like maybe give my input on like what it actually takes to get all the best prices in town? Because if you go to that dealer, you have to take it to that process again. You have to do the demo drive again, do a credit app, blah, 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 and then work the deal. And then boom, here's your best price. And then you have to do it again and then do it again. And then by the time you've done like three, four dealers, next thing you know, your credit is down like 30, 40 points.
yes.
Is that something you can use?
Yeah, you can use something like that because what you're doing is painting a picture. Painting a picture is always good, right? You're painting
Mm,
a picture. What you can do though is word it to where you're agreeing with them. So the way I would word that same thing you just said is that's a great idea. Go dealership to dealership, spend your days off. Like you're almost doing like these little needle pricks without sounding like it. Maybe not say spend your
mm.
days off, but that's a great idea. Go dealership to dealership and find out which one actually works. And I'm glad you came here first. A lot of people choose the best place first. No one goes to the worst dealership first. No one goes to the worst car first. They always go to the best one first. So I appreciate you coming here first, right? So you're planting the seed like, well, yeah, well, I'm at the best place. There's a reason why you came here first. There's a reason why you haven't bought a car yet and now you're here. It's because you probably waited to see this car, because it's probably top on your list. But yeah, if you want to go dealership to dealership and check them all out, that's a smart decision because now you're painting a picture of oh my gosh, I don't want to do all that. The customer in his head is like, I only get 2 days off a week and I'm going to spend it all for the next 3 months. And you can tell customers like, yeah, I had a customer that looked for 8 months. 8 months he shopped around all the dealerships in town. He still ended up here. Let me show you the cars. And then remember, even those people can still buy off emotion. So you say, don't let that be a chink in your armor, like get discouraged. You say, dude, that's a great idea and say what you said.
Mm.
Now be careful though, because when you go to these places, they're going to want to run your credit. They're going to want to get you all this to get, oh, you got to come inside and run your credit to get the best deal. Be careful of that. So now you're painting a picture of those are the guys who are going to screw you over, but I'm not without saying it.
And then how would you transition back towards your deal after that? After you've said all of that,
So now,
how would you reframe the customers to stay in?
well, that's when you got to build that emotional bond and that rapport. And you got to be the coolest salesperson they've ever met. Because those shoppers, the reason why they're still shopping is because every salesperson they tell that to goes, oh, okay, well, here's my card. Go take a look around. Oh, you're not buying today? Well, what can we get to what will it take for you to buy today? Well, they just told you they want to look around. But they finally meet a salesperson that's cool because this is what they need. This is their buying cues. They finally meet a salesperson who's like, dude, that's a great idea. Go around, check them all out. I'm glad you came to the best place first. My name's Vincent. Yeah, you are. Okay. And convert that educated buyer that wants to shop around to the emotional buyer. And then if you know your competition's product, then you could sell against it. You can say, hey, the reason why a lot of people buy the CX-5 over that Audi A5 is because first it's $20,000 less, but it has all the same features. Now, if you're going to be on a racetrack with your SUV, go get the Audi. I don't how often do you guys go on the racetrack? Never. Oh, okay. So the $20,000 more to go on the racetrack and race people on the
It's not
street,
worth it.
it's
It's
not
not
worth
worth
it,
it.
right? But if mine has Apple CarPlay, front sensing, back sensing, cameras, 360, this, panoramic, leather, heated seats, cooled seats, if it has everything the Audi has and it's 20,000 less and you don't plan on using it on the track and your insurance is less and your fuel economy is better and it lasts longer, has a better warranty, and it's that I mentioned it's $20,000 less and you can have some fun. Like, I get why you want to look at the Audi. It's an amazing car. I'm not bashing it, but I need you to check this car out too. Boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, like, well, what would the payment be? I could tell you the payment on the Audi and this one when you come inside. Really? Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Mr. Sales Manager, add 20,000 to the sales price and tell me what that payment would be. And you come out with two pencils. Okay, the Audi is 975 a month and the Mazda is 675. What? How'd you do that? Dude, I can access everything. Yeah, we can't afford 975. We'll take yours. You just never know what it takes. But man, you got to be on the fly.
That's a great idea, actually.
You
But
got to
you just go
be.
to your manager, just give me a price for, even though it's not the right price. You can just come out and just say that that will be the price.
Yeah, that's the
And
price.
then
Well, how do you
they'll
know?
choose yeah, they'll just trust the authority of the manager. Be like, oh, that would be like an estimated price.
Yeah, and they say,
Um,
well, how do you know that? We pulled the VIN from their website, pulled up the equivalent A5 or whatever it is, the SUV, plugged into the payment calculator. This is your payment on the Audi. This is your payment on the Mazda. They have a 4-year warranty. This comes with an extended warranty up to 150,000 miles, and it's still 300 or 400 bucks less. This is why a lot of people choose our dealership versus the competition. Well, we want to go look at the Chevy. I'll tell you all about the Chevy. Yes, it's cheaper. Oh, shoot. Now you're dealing with one that's cheaper. Let me tell you why it's cheaper, though. Road noise is loud because they shortcut on the plastics, they shortcut on the insulation. So, yes, it is a cheaper product, but you're going to feel like you're in a cheaper product, right? So then you can sell against the lower priced one and sell against the higher priced one. But that takes time and it takes experience. But the fact that you're training is getting you there. The fact that you can rewatch this video 9,000 times now, and whoever else is listening can find out, oh my gosh, I can see when Kyle gets into flow state. Like it just comes out of him. But I don't have all the answers because I don't have every type of customer in front of me in these scenarios. But
right.
the key to your success is what happens before the desk. Always remember that because a
Mhm,
customer will always bend if they like their salesperson.
mhm.
A customer will
And
be
and
a lay down if they love their car salesperson.
mhm. And if so lastly, obviously the wife objection,
Hmm.
it's common and we hear it all the time. Uh, would you say it's important to try to diffuse it at the beginning to try to maybe not have to hear it later? So an idea I had is without objection was to be like at first when you're talking and let's say you get to know that the person has a wife somehow, you could say something along those lines of, "Oh, she obviously she knows you're here, right?" You could just say that, and you didn't sneak out the house to come here, right? And then he would say, "Yeah, of course I talked to her." So that's like a sneaky way to already know that the wife knows she's there. And then when you're trying to close, I thought of saying something along those lines of, um, so when we did that demo drive, right? It was awesome, and you really liked the driving. Let's just say I wasn't in the car and your wife was at my place. If she saw the emotions you were leaving, smiles you had, like when you're turning corners and you're saying the song, the subwoofers were nice, what would you think she would say at that moment of you asking, should I buy? Would she say yes or no? And then the customer would probably say, well, if she was at your place and she saw all of that, she'd probably say yes. But there you have your answer. Or you can also say like, what if she says no? I don't know which is best. I guess it goes like depending on the customer, but I've been trying to studying like what would be the best approach.
It's a touchy one because, but what you have to remember is the wife probably already said yes. Just assume that she already said yes. The reason why he's saying he has to talk to the wife is because something in the numbers or the truck, something else isn't
He's
adding
not
up.
sure. He's the one that's not sure, not the wife.
He's the
He's
one,
deflecting.
and he's using the wife because she's not there to say, no, it's not mine. This is on you. Most wives, when you're at the desk, say that. No, this is your truck. If you want it, let's do it. That's the most response. So the wife probably already said yes. It's just the budget for him is too high or the vehicle's not right. There's something missing. But to go back to what you're saying is how you kind of bring it up, like she probably already knows. You can create your own objections by saying stuff like that too early because
Mhm.
now you've put a seed in his head like, oh, I could use my wife to get out of this. Don't create your own objections. When the
Yeah.
when the wife,
Someone told me that actually. Someone told me that. But someone on YouTube advised to say that, and another person said don't do that. So that's why I wasn't sure. I
yeah,
guess everyone works different, but
yeah, and maybe bringing it up early and having fun with it, like when you find out that in a test drive that he's married, oh my gosh, we're not going to get in trouble by the wife. There might be a place for that, but really now you've put a new objection in his head that he could use. So you're actually feeding him an objection. The biggest problem salesmen have is the ones they create. We
mm.
create our own problems by either not knowing the product, doing the wrong steps of the sale, planting the wrong seeds, setting them up for failure when they say I want to be at 200 to $300 a month max, and you're throwing them a $50,000 car, and you've already qualified. They have no money down. You're setting them up for failure.
So you
So
would say not try to diffuse and just address it when it comes on,
address it
and
when it
just
comes
use
on,
logic.
and
Yeah, just use
understand that
logic.
it's probably not the wife. Now I've had deals when I was
Well, I'm
a
not use logic. Use emotion really, because you're trying to
yeah
tie it back to the emotion you had towards the car.
yeah
Well, actually, when you talk about the numbers, it's logic. It's logical. It's if it really is the numbers and it's just a deflection towards the wife, you have to talk about the numbers, but you have to always tie it back to emotion
and so
to
so
justify the number.
So like if I were to go test drive a car without my wife and she's at home, right? But I knew for me, I better get my wife involved. And the salesman was savvy enough to say, "Hey, you mentioned your wife needs to look at the car. You want to show your wife, talk to your wife. Let's go show her the car. Let's go take it to her." If the customer's true objection was the wife, he would go say, "Yeah, let's go do that." If it was never the wife, he would say, "No, no, no, we don't want to bug her." What do you mean you can't bug your wife? Like she's at home. Oh no, she's at work. Where does she work? She works down the street at the medical. You're telling me she can't walk outside? So the way,
You would actually say that? You would say that?
in a variation, yes. This is between me
Okay.
and you. But in a variation, I would say, hey, why don't we just take it to her? And oh no, I don't want to bug her. Well, where's she work? She works at the. She can come outside for a couple minutes. Let's FaceTime her. Let's FaceTime her, show her the truck, right? And if he keeps saying no, 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 then it was never the wife. That's what he's
So
using as the
that,
lie.
but don't you think that having that lining of questions would be pushy, would sound pushy?
Um, yes and no. If you're catching him in a lie, um, then you got to ask that question. If he's truly needs to talk to his wife, he'll be fine with it. They'll always be fine with it. I've had customers FaceTime their wife, "Hey, honey, I found this truck," because the wife was truly needed to be part of the deal. Or
Mm.
I mean, I don't know if you how many times you've done this, but I've gone to people's houses with the husband and the wife walks out in front, looks at it. "Oh, that thing's beautiful. Okay, I just want to get your
Never
blessing."
done that. Never done that.
It'll come up when you have a real customer that really has to talk to his wife, or when you get down to the numbers and he says, "Okay, numbers look good, everything looks good. I need to talk to the wife." "Okay, do you want to FaceTime or do you want to take the truck to show her? Or we can go show her." "Oh, let's go show her." That's a real customer with a real wife that has to look at it. But the
But
ones,
if so in hindsight, like let's say you do find out that it was a lie, it was a deflection, right? By saying something along those lines of what you just said, oh, we can take the car to your wife and blah blah blah. And then he's like, nah, nah, nah. How do you tie it back to the numbers though? Like, how would you be like, listen, I caught you in a lie? You don't say that,
right,
obviously,
right.
but how do you tie it back?
Well, then you have to figure out, okay, you almost have to dissect the deal really fast in your head. Where did I go wrong? before we got to this point of the wife. You got to be rapid fire. Okay. When did he start saying, I need to talk to my wife? At what point did he say? Was it at the test drive? Was it at the down payment? Was it at the monthly payment? Was it before he ran his credit? A lot of times it's before they run the credit. Why do you think that
Yeah,
is?
usually, yeah.
They got rough
Well,
credit.
usually it's when you pitch the initial numbers. That's usually the timing that you'll hear it most. Most of the most, I mean, I'd say like almost 100% of the customers that I've done test drives with, they come inside with me because they like my vibe,
Yeah,
they like my conversational skills, they like the fact that I can connect with them. So, like, look, it just take 5 minutes of your time. At least you have something to think about when you go home. Just let me give you something to think about. I'll go inside, and then that's when they can be creative with the way they deflect. Like, oh, it's 800 a month, looks decent, blah blah. I'll have to run it by my wife, and then you like yeah, I would usually say like either the emotional route of like let's say your wife was in the car, blah blah, or something along those lines you said of like, well, let's actually take
take
the
it
car
to
to
her
your wife.
or FaceTime
Yeah,
her.
so if you find out that it wasn't the wife, like what would be the way you would tie it back to the customer and try to get him back to the numbers and actually not let him leave? Because
So
then
you can ask prying questions. This is where I would ask prying questions. Be like, okay, so let's say your wife was here, right? But she couldn't really say anything. She was just here watching this, and she saw the $800 payment, and you looked over at her. What would she do? Would she do this or this? And she'd probably do that. Okay. And then the 10,000 down, you looked over at her, what would she do? She'd be like, oh, this is a down payment. Right? You can do like a hypothetical thing. You can just make up a scenario. If we did 50% off on the truck and you looked at your wife, what would she say? She'd be like, yeah. So now you're finding out it's not the wife, it's the money. But you make these hypothetical things. I do this when I pitch a warranty to customers. I tell them, if the warranty was free, would you take it? They'd be like, yeah. I'm like, so it's not that you don't want your car covered, it's that you don't want to pay for it. They're like, well, yeah. So then I take that as they don't see the value in that warranty yet. So you can do hypothetical things because obviously no warranty is free, right? You can
right.
say something
So
like,
you yeah, okay, I'm listening.
all you're doing is throwing out a hypothetical thing to see what he reacts to. If your payment was $800 a month with zero down, what would your wife say? What do you think she would say? She would be like, "Yeah, let's buy it." Well, because now you know it's a down payment thing. If you said to your wife the payment was 800, what would she say? She'd be like, "No, she told me 600." Oh my gosh, we're finding out the actual objection. Because statistically, it's never the wife. That's
I
just
know that, yeah.
so
Just a way to really dig into it and find out. Like, I
so
guess that's sometimes tricky
Yeah, so after you
because
find
with fitness, it's all about them. But with the car, you can easily deflect. But with the fitness,
yes.
you can really deflect on anyone.
Yeah, because
So
do you ever notice when you have a wife and a husband at your desk, they never say, "Well, let me consult with my wife. Can you give me a few minutes?" It's very rare they do that. It's usually
yeah,
like they look at each other like, "Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we talked about." Oh, you guys talked about it before you came in. So you probably talked about it before you came in without your wife. You have to understand the wife thing is just a way to get out. I mean, there's 1 or 2% that probably have to really go talk to the wife, and you can't close them that day. They truly have to go home and talk to the wife, and you can't beat
yeah,
yourself up about that. But the rest of them is throw out a hypothetical thing. What if the payment was $400 a month with 10,000 down? Would your wife say yes? Well, yeah. So it's not the down. The town he's good with 10,000. The wife's good with 10,000. Oh, it's the payment. The payment's too high. You see what I'm doing? I'm pinpointing what the real problem is by doing a hypothetical conversation. So if your wife was here, let's say, and the payment was 400 and not 800 with zero down, would you take it? Would she say yeah? Well, yeah. But we're at 800 and you want to be at 400? Well, I don't want to be at 400, but 800 is too much. Oh, okay, there's the real objection. You just have to find it's called flushing out the objection. You have to, but a lot of salespeople don't have the guts and balls to do that. What they do is, yeah, he wants to go talk to the wife. Let me make a copy, da 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 da, and they never see him again.
right.
because
Yeah, you can't just let them leave. Yeah,
you
of
didn't
course,
have the guts
because
to ask them. So you got
yeah,
to ask them, hey, why don't we just FaceTime your wife? Oh, shoot, I didn't even think about that. Hey, honey, here's my truck. I'm thinking about getting it. They got me approved at 800 bucks a month. What do you think? All right, I'll buy it. That's a real customer that actually had to talk to his wife. If they say, I don't want to talk to my wife, no, I don't want to bug her, no, we can't go show her, she's watching the kids, that's BS. What's the real problem? You need to ask those questions.
you could start with the payments. You say realistically, after that conversation, let's say your wife was actually present
Yes.
and she looked at those numbers. What do you think her what do you feel her reaction would be? She'd probably say no. Okay, so and then do you say like um, what number do you actually think she would say yes to,
No,
or
because,
you try to divert it back to him? Because at the end of the day, she has to say yes, right? So if
well,
you say
if
it in that way.
yeah, if you say what would the numbers need to be, that means he's got to desk his own deal. So you got to isolate it. Is it the payment? Is it the down payment? Or is it the trade? You got to find out, or is it the price? You got to find out which one it is. And you can do that by saying, hey, if your wife was here and she said, okay, and you told her the payment's 800 bucks a month, and you looked at her, would she give you the yes or no? She'd probably say no. What about the 10,000? No, we talked about the 10,000. We're good with 10,000 down. Okay. And and the trade value, that would she throw a fit about that? No, that's kind of what we were thinking. Okay, so really it's the payment. If your wife was here and the payment was half of that, what would she say? Would you buy it? Well, yeah, I'd buy it. Okay, so now you know it's the payment. It's
Mm,
like it's
okay.
it's like hiding the P type thing in reverse. I don't know how to explain it, but you
Yeah,
just
yeah, no, I totally understand. So it's just the way you said that I didn't know how to, but I guess it makes sense. Just create a hypothetical and just make it like the wife was
yeah.
there.
And that's what I do
Yeah.
on those warranties, and it works every time. So I tell customers, it's not that you don't want, and I say this exact sentence, it's not that you don't want coverage. Every customer wants coverage. It's that you don't want to pay for it, right? I'm being blunt. They're like, well, yeah. I go, so if this warranty was free, would you say yes to it? They're like, well, yeah. I go, so it's not that it's you don't want the coverage, you don't want all the perks to the coverage, it's that you don't want your payment to go up. Well, yeah, and then I can start negotiating on the value of the warranty and what it covers, and how getting the warranty is actually cheaper than not getting it, even though your payment goes up. Well, how is it cheaper? Because you're you're at 500 with the warranty, it's 580. How is it cheaper, Kyle? Well, let's break down one repair over the next 5 years, right? Let's break down two repairs. Average repair bill is 2,000 bucks. You take $2,000 and you divide it by 60 months. What is that in payment? Oh, that's 30 bucks. That's only one repair over the next 5 years. There's so many electronics in these cars, right? And I go into this pitch and they're like, yeah, we'll take the warranty because we set up a
Mhm.
hypothetical scenario, found out the real objection that it's not they don't want the coverage, they don't want to pay for the coverage, and then it's our job to show them that they're actually saving money by getting the warranty. So it's like, what the heck just happened? The customer's like, I don't even know what happened. That's how good you got to be at the desk when you ask these questions, and try not to be scared of asking these questions, because the customers, if they get offended and all that, and they blow out of your office, they probably weren't buying, or you're miles apart, or they're a 500 score and they didn't want to tell you that. They're just wasting a day. Who knows?
Yeah,
Not
you'll get that. You'll get those. Yeah.
Yeah. And if every customer was sold every time, then you would have salespeople that are selling 150 cars a month. That's not happening. So there are customers that truly are not buying from you. They just want to look, and they're comparing, and they're buying from their buddy, but they want to test drive it with you. Like
But there's
there's
just no way that it's such a big percentage. It just that was a, I know that that's right. That what you're saying, it's 100% true. But I was thinking, like, if I'm hearing these objections over and over, I'd have to just shop around every time. It's just it had to be something with my not only my demo, but the whole experience I was giving, the my confidence with the product, my knowledge on the product, and that's why ultimately I went with you, is just to really get my lining of questioning and what to know basically,
yeah.
and what to say and what to ask and what to look for when you're trying to dive into what the person's dealing with and what to find in their psychology and
And there's
so that
there's always a path to a car deal. It's like a lightning bolt. The lightning bolts never go straight down, right? It's not a perfect line. They have to
Mhm.
find the fastest and easiest way through the atmosphere to hit the ground. Well, a car deal is the same way. There's no car deal that just goes straight down perfectly. You have to find the path that makes that particular car deal. And by having your product knowledge, knowing customers, knowing the steps of the sale, and really giving yourself the ammo and the tools, you'll be better equipped with each customer that comes in, and you'll start losing less car deals and start making more. And now the only car deals you're actually losing are the ones that are lying to you or they couldn't buy anyway.
Yeah,
Then it's like, oh my
totally.
gosh, I'm only losing 3 or 4 car deals a week, but I'm making 5 to 8 a week. I'm selling 24 cars a month. It's okay to lose 5 deals a month when you're selling 20 because those 5 deals, with you being so good, were probably lying or they couldn't buy anyway. Or they were 20 grand flipped, things that are out of your control.
Totally. I know we've took a lot of time, and I'm
It's
so
okay.
appreciative of all the time you took, man. And also, I was late today, and I want to point that out to the audience. I was late, and Cal actually took me in anyways. He respected me that even though I was working a deal with a customer, he actually took the time and extra time to service me. So that guy is definitely he's the real deal, man. And really appreciate the time. If last I could just act like two questions, really apart what we've talked about. I think
Yeah.
we've really covered everything. I'm gonna rewatch it back. Maybe if I can run like two questions really quick by you,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Could I do that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So quickly, like it wasn't in my subjects because I really dig a lot of information about it already. But being creative when you call people, right? I haven't called people yet at Mazda because I'm still getting training. So maybe quickly, like if I could get like an idea of two of you when you're calling someone, what I've been using is this. Let's say I'm trying to get someone in to buy back their car, give them a trade for their car that they've bought before at the Mazda dealer, and I'm trying to sell them a new car. I would say something along those lines of like, "Hey there, this is Vincent, blah blah. How are you doing today?" Boom, and then I would say something like, "Oh, do you still have that car that you bought like in 2019? Blah blah. It still runs good, good, perfect." And then I would say something along those lines. Like, listen, we're looking to rebuy that car because we need these cars in the lot. Like my 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 manager, he beats my head over every day to find these cars. Like, could actually have a look and give you a great offer because we're looking for these cars. And at the same time, maybe we could look at a newer option, like something like that. But I was thinking like maybe it's going to be redundant. But if you always talk to a different person, not really, but like maybe how if you're trying to get the appointment because I know
Yeah.
it's so important to really get our appointment. And I learned that the hard way when I was working at Chrysler, the hard way. And I wasn't getting appointments nearly as enough as I needed to. But I was actually catching up after a couple of weeks by using like that technique. But maybe if I could have your input really quickly
Yeah.
on that.
Well, what is one of people's favorite things? It's free. That's the one of the most famous and best words a person could hear is free. So what I would do is say, "Hey, this is Vincent over at the dealership. I was going through my system and your name popped up and there was a star next to it. I don't even know what the star means. Like I'm just making this up on the fly right now, Vincent. There's a star next to it and it showed that you bought this Mazda da 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 3 years ago. Do you still have that car?" I'm like, "Yeah, I still have
Mhm.
it." Okay, good. Uh, because there are a couple of things is the reason why I'm calling you is your name popped up in our system. That makes them feel a little bit important. And the star, what the heck was a star for? Like I have no idea what the star, but your name had a star next to it. Maybe it's VIP, right? You're making them feel very, very special and VIP with your name popped up in the star. And do you still have this vehicle? Yes, I do. Okay, my manager is doing free appraisals for the next like 72 hours because we need these particular vehicles in stock and we were hoping to buy some. Now, whether you're selling or not, at least come get the free appraisal so then you know what your value is, right? So you're changing the whole thing. You're changing
You're
the
not
whole
even
thing.
saying to, I want, maybe we could look at newer options. Not even getting to that.
You don't
Just,
even need to
we could
do that.
appraise your car.
You
You,
don't even
you
need to
just want
say
to
that
appraise your
because
car.
now they know there's a sales pitch attached to that call. Oh,
Yeah.
salesman calls me, offers me this. Now I know why he wants to sell me a car. And so your percentage is lower. But my used car manager is doing free appraisals for the next 24 hours, and your name popped up. I'm like, shoot, I know he was asking about these cars, and there was specific cars that he was willing to go above and beyond the normal value for. And that's probably why the stars there. I'm not sure. Can I set you up for an appointment? It doesn't take that long, and I get to meet you too, but at least you'll get to know where you're at. Sure. I free appraisal. I get to know where I'm at, get to see my value. And then when they're there, you say something like, hey, while you're here, the appraisal takes 15 minutes. Would you mind walking around with me so it looks like I'm doing working my job and look at some cars? They may not even You may not even need to do that. You can say, hey, my name's Vincent. I'm the guy who called you. I'm one of the new car salespeople. And yeah, we're just doing these free appraisals. It's pretty rare they do them. They don't normally do them unless you're buying something. Oh, well, what do you guys got? The fact that you're there, the fact that that customer's there, you already have a chance of selling them. Hey, while you're here, you want to look at some new cars? No obligation. You're not buying nothing. I promise you that. Let's just look. Sure. There's the new version of your car, and then boom, you're going into your little sales pitch. So I would tweak it a little bit. And the reason why you put a time frame on it, 24 hours, is so that way they want to come now. If you just say free appraisals, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm available next week,"
Yeah, yeah. The pushed off, yeah.
and they'll never come in. But if you say, "Hey, my used car manager doing free appraisals for the next 24 hours," your name popped up. There was a star. I know he said that this particular car, they're looking to spend even more money on than usual because we need the inventory. Can you come in for 5, 10, 15 minutes? Sure. It's free. No obligation. You're not signing any contracts. Okay. At least you'll know what your car's worth, a true value, not just the KBB fluff price.
Hmm.
I would try something like that and maybe tweak it a little bit and try, but I would definitely throw in the free and your name popped up in the system. Not the reason why I'm calling.
Yeah, that's
The
a good
reason why
idea.
I'm
Yeah.
calling is because I noticed you bought a car 3 years ago and do you still have that car? How is it running? Who the heck cares how it's running? If it's running like crap, they're coming in. If it's running good, they may come in because they're thinking about buying something else. We always know customers want to buy it every 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So you just
Mhm.
assume that they already want something. Oh, this car's been great. Yeah, just come get it appraised. It's free. So maybe try something like that. Now, if your dealership demands you to use that word track that you have,
No, they don't. They don't. You can really, no, you can really do whatever you want. I mean, as long as you get appointments, right? It doesn't really matter. Like, if you get like 10 appointments a week, like, and more, I mean, you're
and
doing a good job with your pitch. So I was trying to refine my pitch, but I think what you've said is really good. Putting like maybe 72 hours, like for the next
yeah,
3 days, can
next
say
three
like that.
days.
Oh, we're doing, yeah, the next 3 days, we're doing free appraisal. It's going to take like 15 minutes. All you have to do is come in.
Yeah,
And
no
so,
obligation. You're not signing nothing. Just let's get a real value on your car instead of the Kelly Blue Book fake values. Another thing too, you can use resources also at your dealership. Who sets the most appointments on these cars? These appointments, listen to that person. Take little tidbits
yeah,
from everybody.
that's good. Awesome. I should add something else in mind, but I'll leave it for another
No,
call,
go
man.
ahead. If we're here, might
But
as well.
I'm trying. I'm trying to think about it. So you give me like 2 minutes to maybe just try to find it again. But just too much, man. So much information, man. I'm
It's a
so
lot.
happy to be there. It's a lot, but you know what? I'll listen back to that call tomorrow at my job actually, and I'll take time to really dissect it back and take notes on everything we've talked about today because there was a lot of game, man, a lot of game, and I believe that it's gonna give me a lot of tools for the next weeks and the next years and whatnot. So
Yep.
yeah, I think it was really, really intuitive. Learned a lot. So, man, I'm so thankful to be on the call. It's
Yeah.
well spent money, man. And you know what? Sometimes it's not about what you spend; it's about what you get when you spend. And you can get junk food for a lot of money, and can get a lot of knowledge for a lot of money. So, which one you want to choose? It's up to you. You know, if you want to get comfort, you can buy that. If you want discomfort, but then results, you can also buy that. So you have to choose. You have to pick your poison, like I like to
Yeah.
say.
Well, I can tell just from this conversation and kind of how you talk and carry yourself that you're very intelligent. And intelligence is a great asset. What you need to do now is just get confident in the car business. Once you're confident in the car business, like you're confident in fitness, you'll be unstoppable. There's literally nothing that can stop you. You just have to keep doing the work, put in the work. If you don't work out, your muscles don't get big. If you don't practice at the car lot, you don't get more sales. So you already know the formula of success because look at your body, right? Look at your physique. So now you just need to do the physique in your brain for the car business, and you'll not only look good and sound good, but you're going to be making big money and you can have the successes that follow that and do good things with your money and help people. It's the best thing in the world to help people. So just keep doing what you're doing, but I need you to raise your hand, take it and pat your back.
Thanks, man.
You done
Thanks,
good.
man.
And the fact that you're training, I already mentioned this, the fact that you're training is well deserved a pat on the back because so many people go through the car business, they spend 20, 30 years with the same knowledge they have from the first year of the car business. So they only repeat their 1 year of experience 30 times.
They don't think about like steels, sharpened steels, like they don't even try to learn new things that but I'm definitely the complete opposite. Like especially in fitness, you always learn new stuff, new movements,
Yep.
a new way to really nutrition. And so it's really the same with people's psychology. You always learn more and there's always a different customer. There's
Yep.
no customer that are the same. So like you said, I wasn't expecting, of course, you to have all the answers about all the objections because it's of course not. But just to have like a frame of like where to direct the conversation, what type of things to ask.
Yeah.
Uh, as far as like, let's say your wife was there, what would you say towards the payment? What would you say towards this? And then you can isolate it that way. That was really nice. And of course, all the questioning, like you said, like a lot of the obstacles we put it in our own legs
Hmm.
by saying stuff we shouldn't say.
Yeah.
But by saying stuff we should say, we remove so many obstacles and we just clear our paths way
Yep.
better.
Yeah, we
So
sometimes we're our own worst enemy. So if you just stay positive with your customer, focus on their experience, focus on being an advocate for them in their eyes, you're obviously there to sell them a car. You're your own advocate, but in their eyes, you need to be their advocate. You need to be the person that's trying to get them a good deal by saying those verbiages without saying discounts, without saying rebates, without saying higher trade. You don't need to say any of that. What you need to say is the stuff that makes them feel like you're working for them. I'm going to go talk to my boss. Don't worry, I got your back. I'm going to figure out how to make this affordable for you, whether you have negative equity or not. Like those little things make the customer believe in you more than any other car salesperson, and now they don't want to shop anymore. Those little things, and
and
just
I think it also alleviates pressure from your own shoulders because you're not the hero trying to say, "Oh, I'll get you more for your trade," or "I'll actually lower your payment," when really it's not even you. I think that's something that I stumbled upon as a mistake, as a big mistake. When I was like, "Oh, I can probably get your payment down $100." I go to my manager, "Oh, we can only remove $20." Like fuck, and then you got to go back and say that. You really look like someone who doesn't know what he's doing, but
yeah.
really I think from what you've said, which is really interesting, is to remove the responsibility from your shoulders. You're just trying to help them and just
Mhm.
really run it by your manager, and he's the one who makes the final call at the end of the day, anyways. But you're trying to keep, obviously, like you're trying to keep profit on the car, you're trying to keep profit on the trade, but you're just making it seem like you're just working your ass off for them, and you don't have to go into the details really of like what is going to be lower, what's going to be higher. You're not the one that chooses that.
Yeah. And
So
perception is reality. So if they perceive you as on their side, that's their reality. Even though you're trying to
mhm.
hold gross, you're trying to sell warranties and gaps and all the products and do what you're supposed to do, they think you're on their side. That's their reality. But the reality is you're a sniper making 25 car sales a month.
Yeah,
All
looking
right,
forward
man.
to it. Hey, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Vincent.
Quickly,